Hey, I'm Siobhan, and I love talking about all the things related to freedom and personal growth. And I'm on a journey to redefine freedom on my own terms as I become the woman I desire to be. Each week, I'll share in real time what I'm learning as I do my inner work while creating a safe space for my listeners to feel seen. If you desire to be free and live a life that feels good to you, then you're in the right place for beautiful conversations that's going to support you on your journey to freedom. Welcome to the Siobhan J. Middleton podcast. Now let's start the show. Hey, y'all. So before we get into today's conversation with my daughter and I want to let you know that there are some audio issues that you're going to notice. However, the episode is so good and so rich, I didn't want to re-record it. So just want to give you a heads up on that. Also, what I didn't get a chance to mention in the episode is that my daughter does have a registry with Target and Amazon. Both of those links are in the show notes. So if you want to support, we would deeply appreciate it as we prepare for college and getting the things for her dorm room, which is so exciting. So many people have been asking, what's the registry? What's the registry? Okay, I got it. So the link for Target and the link for Amazon is in the show notes. You can purchase things off her registry, or you can provide gift cards, whichever works best for you. We thank you in advance and enjoy the episode. Hey, welcome back to another episode of my podcast. Per usual, I am so happy that you are here again for another week. This episode is special to me because I am going to be interviewing my daughter. And you guys have heard me talk about her a lot on the podcast. And this episode in particular, I really want to speak about her experience now that she's a high school graduate. She's preparing for college and all of these big life changes that are happening. I've been wanting to have a conversation with her on the podcast for a while, but I feel like now it is very fitting to be able to have this conversation. So here we are. Welcome to the show. I'm so glad that you're on here with you. I'm happy to be here. Yeah, and I've been wanting to have this conversation with you for a while on the podcast because I think you are a brilliant human being. I think you have a lot to share. And when I think about you, yes, you're my child, but also there is something very unique in the way that you think that I think anyone would be able to be inspired by what you share. When I was thinking about the podcast, I'm like, yeah, I definitely want to record with you. And I think now is fitting because you are officially a high school graduate.
Yeah.
How do you feel post-graduation?
It doesn't feel real. And it's like, I think teachers, a lot of adults, a lot of people have told me this. Mm-hmm. They're like, you're going to miss high school. And I'm like, no, you whatever, adult, you don't know, whatever. I miss it so much. I miss the structure and I miss the schedule and I miss seeing people every day. And I don't. And also it's like a weird thing. We're all going in our different directions. And it's just that weird transition period where you're not a kid anymore, but you're not an adult. And you got to figure this world out. And yes, I do have people in my corner. I love you, Mom. I love my brother. I love everybody. But it's like also scary because it's a different type of like support in my corner. Different type of way I have to navigate through the world,
Yeah. And you're also 18.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I can vote. Don't know what I'm going to do about that. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Absolutely. But yeah, so you're 18 and a high school graduate. So these are two big transitions that have happened in your life this year.
And what's crazy is like I dreamed about this moment and now I have no idea what to do from here. It's weird because it's like getting the thing you've always wanted and then realizing it's just a thing and like what now?
Yeah.
Like I've been wanting to go to art school since I was 12 and dreamed about it. And now I'm going to one of the top ones for painting in the country in my dream place, New York City, Brooklyn. It's crazy.
Yeah. Does it seem real to you?
That's a weird question because sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. Like it doesn't, I don't know. Like sometimes it hits me, I'm like, oh my God, I'm living the dream that little me wanted. And now I have it. Oh my God, this better be great, right? It better be like this amazing thing. So my little me will be okay. And also sometimes it doesn't hit. Whatever.
So since you brought up college and going to your dream school, what are you most excited about? And I'm asking that question because you just said you've been preparing for this moment since you were 12 years old. And now here we are, and you are starting a new chapter of your big, beautiful life.
It's scary.
So what are you most excited about when you think about college?
Getting back in the studio. I think I mean, I loved making art here in Cleveland, but also there's only so much space I have, and I need to spread my wings and fly, you know? And I miss the studio so much. I miss being around other artists. I miss being passionate about art, and I just really crave that, like, creativity in Brooklyn. And so I'm really excited to be in the city.
So when I think about your path as an artist and observing it as your mother, one of the things that I look forward to as it relates to your college experience is that you're going to be surrounded by other artists. Witnessing this journey, for me, sometimes have been difficult because people don't necessarily accept artists.
Oh, yeah.
And watching you navigate things when people say you're going to be a starving artist or artists don't make money. Can you speak to us about how that makes you feel when you hear things like that?
It used to really get to me. Now it doesn't as much. I don't get that a lot either, because I think 2024 is such a, like, an interesting, like, this is an interesting generation where it's like we figured out that we don't want 9-to-5 jobs. We figured out that there's other ways to make money now, and those ways aren't quote unquote normal, but they definitely work. And so I don't get much shame for it now, especially because I put, like, myself in communities and spaces where artists are respected. However, at the time, I did get, like, that treatment during 9th grade, and it was very hard because I felt very isolated and alone, because not only at home, like, the type of art that I made wasn't acceptable, and to my dad, it just wasn't as serious. I created characters and wrote stories, and I brought that into this new private school environment where it was weird to be this weird, like, comic kid who just liked drawing really, like, colorful characters and stuff. So yeah, it was a hard transition, and it was pretty discouraging, but then I found, like, my rhythm. I just took finding the right people, and that was my first art teacher. And then I moved on to Scholastics Arts Competition, and I went on to CSA.
Yeah, I think that watching you navigate the negativity from people has been sometimes hard for me, because I see you as an artist, I celebrate your art, and when people say things that are negative, it's like, but you're saying this to a child. You're saying this to someone who is still finding her way, and you don't know how that can be very painful. And I believe that you've done a good job at, like, navigating through this space and still standing firm. And so when I think about you going away to art college, like, I'm really excited, because now you're going to be surrounded by all artists speaking the same language. Like, you're going to truly be within a community of people who celebrate what you're doing, and you have room to blossom and grow. And so I'm really excited about that. Oh, yeah, me too. Is there anything that you're afraid of when it comes to going away to college?
Yes, definitely. I'd say being 7 hours away in this busy city, it is, like, my first, like, big stressor. But I think I've thought enough about, like, what I'm scared about, and I just need to get myself more focused on the things I'm excited about. Because it's really easy, like, because I have issues with my mental health, like struggling with depression and anxiety, and formerly suffering from PTSD. It's easy to, like, think about, oh, I'm scared to worry, I gotta worry about this and this and this. So I'm trying to, like, navigate my mindset to where I'm like, okay, but yes, I am scared, but also, hey, you're going to art school. This is your dream since you were a kid. You're going to be in a dorm, sleeping in a dorm. You're going to be around other queer kids. You're going to be around other Black kids, other people of color who can relate to you, and, find your voice and find, like, a deeper connection into art. Like, think about that, So, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you are going to be surrounded by everything that you love and that you're passionate about. And, you know, community and friendships is very important to me. And I want you and your brother, but we're specifically talking about you now, where I want you to have that space to be able to do that. And when we visited Pratt a couple of months ago, being on the campus, I felt like, okay, this is a good place for her.
It's I'm very excited to see the person I become. Like, even after freshman year, like, I come back home for like Christmas or Thanksgiving.
All right, okay. I've seen on these TikToks where you see the child when they are young adult, we should say now, when they start college, and then how they look 4 years later, and it's like completely different, like kids.
So I'm just gonna be a more grown-up version of like me, but in the best way, you know, because like even how I am now is not how I expected me to be at 18. I had a lot of like insecurities, and there was even a time where I was gonna quit art and just become a history teacher, which I also love history, but I'm glad I found a way to incorporate it into my art as well.
Yeah, I think that's great. I forgot about that. And now I want to talk about that. So this was about 3 years?
2021.
Oh, you were, okay. So can you tell us about when you wanted to quit art?
No, yeah, I was just in a really dark spot, and I couldn't find the joy in it anymore because I felt like I never like could do enough for myself. And not only that, but the art that I wanted to make revolving around comics and creating characters, I guess my dad didn't really understand it, and I thought I didn't understand the art world and how he viewed it and what was like valued. And I guess the art that I was making at the time wasn't very like impressive. But you could definitely, so that's when I switched over to realism. But that whole period was just a very stale time for me, where I was trying to figure out what I want out of art, what I find like interesting, and how to still be myself, and if I could stay closeted forever.
And then also you lost all your art.
Yeah, that's true. I did do that. I guess I failed to mention this. I did digital art. I had sketchbooks, but I did digitally on my iPad since like 2018. I want to say 2019, 2018. And then one day the whole thing crashed. I lost everything. And that, plus the depression and anxiety and severe pressure to help to move as an artist for my dad, it was just too much. And I almost gave up. But then I got a letter, which I'm pretty sure looking back, I'm pretty sure they sent it to everybody. But Scholastic's Arts and Writing was like, hey, you got an honorable mention. That's really cool. You should try this pre-college program. And no one, like, I never give myself enough credit for this, but no one told me about this. And I only read that letter. Like, my mom wasn't like, oh, you should do this thing. My dad didn't know about it. I signed up for this by myself and told my mom, I want to do this. And if I never went to the CIA pre-college program, I don't know what my life would have looked like. And that's a scary thought, but I'm thankful I went.
Yeah. I remember that time when you lost all your art. It was heartbreaking because I could see like the pain that you were experiencing as it relates to the mental stuff that was going on. But then on top of that, to lose your art. And I'm so glad and grateful that you got that letter and that you met someone who went to the Cleveland School of Art and then introduced you through Scholastics, the CIA college program.
Back. And that was a very hard thing to do. And I think one of my favorite things about me, and I keep this with me in any job interview I ever do, I'm very resilient. And yeah, I fall, but I will get back up and I will find a way out and I will call what I need to. I need to call my therapist. I'll text friends and family. I'm going to get it together and I will figure it out and be the best version of myself again, even if that takes time.
I want to kind of stay in this space before I move on. You have won tons of awards. You have been a part of several exhibits. You have illustrated a children's book. I mean, you've done a lot at the tender age of 18. How does it feel for your art to be out in the world in the way that it is? Because people have purchased your art, they have your art in their homes, all of these things. Like, how does it feel to win these awards, to be a part of these exhibits, to have your art in people's homes. Like, how does that feel?
What's weird is I don't even process it as that. In my mind, it's a lot of pressure because I got to live up to that. Okay, so now that, it's amazing that I did all that stuff, but it's also like the way my mind works, I don't see it as like, okay, that's amazing that, yeah, I'm so cool, I did all this. It's more like, okay, now I have to do more, right? And what do I do? So yeah, I guess it's just me being a humble artist, but that's just like, I'm kind of like, okay, yeah, that's cool, but I gotta get moving, you know?
It's a big deal to me, especially as I talk about it on the podcast or I share on IG or I write about it in newsletters. Like, oh my gosh, like I have the Venus Serena Williams of artists. That's how I feel.
But I appreciate.
No, I think that you are a phenomenal artist and you've been told in many ways, and I get that you're being humble. I think that my hopes for you is that...
You have biased opinion.
Possibly. But my hopes for you is that as you continue to grow as an artist, that you will take in these beautiful moments and that you will learn to celebrate yourself. This is something that I speak to people all the time. Like, how are you celebrating your accomplishments? How are you doing that? And I've said that to you as well. And so my hope as you continue to lean into your art and get more comfortable in all the things that you're doing, that you will know that this is a big freaking deal, you know? But I get where you're at now. There's so much room for growth and understanding. And I think a lot of us are like that. Like, it's hard to see the accomplishments that we've done because we're always on to the next thing. But as your mother, I want you to take a moment to take it all in as best as you can.
That's fair.
So what is something that you have learned from me that you think has been helpful for you?
Self-respect and integrity. I think 2022 was a very special year, and I think shaped our family in like the best way, but it was also a very hard process and painful because the divorce thing, but like separating from dad, it was a very painful time because also I was in my first like real relationship too. And I kind of got signs like that, like stuff wasn't right between you guys. Mm-hmm. Plus, like, you know, breaking the intellectual boundary, things were said, and I was starting to worry and put pieces together. While also I was in my very toxic relationship with this person, and so I was trying to. Also, I was younger than them too, so I was trying to take care of them, which shouldn't have never been my responsibility as a 16-year-old. Plus, try and manage my thoughts around my family at the time breaking up. It was a very traumatic process, but I also think it was very unique and healing because when you were breaking up with dad, I was in the process of breaking up with my partner, and I would have never, my partner at the time, and I would have never done that if you never divorced him because you left, and that was a very hard thing for you to do. But it showed me how much you respect yourself and how much you respect your life. And I think something that you said to me a while, like maybe like a few months ago, that it's just like, it'll stick with me till the day I die. You said you could die right now and would be totally content with your life. And just like learning personal boundaries is what I've taken from you the most. Mm-hmm. And I thank you for that. I'm very thankful to know that.
Yeah. And I know the divorce has definitely been emotionally taxing for you and your brother. And that was not an easy decision to make. And one of the things that I had to think about when I decided to leave, and I remember my grandmother said this to me. She said, you know, you're going to break your kid's heart. And one of the things that I had to stand in is that I had to choose myself first, and that my children deserved the best version of me.
Absolutely.
And had I stayed in the unhealthy marriage that I was in, you wouldn't have this version of me.
Absolutely not. I don't think I would have been even this version of myself if you never divorced.
So I'm glad that when you think about the things that have been most helpful, and yes, a divorce was painful. We've been through a lot over here. And also everyone in their own time will be better for it.
Absolutely.
is truly just a process. How does it feel now being able to realize your dream and be able to live in it? And let me give a little bit of context to my question. From the time you were little, you have been creative in some capacity. But I noticed at the age of 9 that you were taking it seriously. You were drawing and you were creating every single day, right? And when you turned 12, you were researching colleges. Like, you knew the whole admission process. So when it was time to apply, you did early, admission, and now here we are. Very few people I know, in fact, you may be the only person that I know that has a dream at such an early age. You stuck through it all the way through, and now you're even taking it to the next level, and you're going to be living in it. Like, the dream for you is, I'm going to art college. So how does it feel to be experiencing your dream that you've been dreaming about for a long time?
It is a hard thing to digest. That's for sure, because I think I'm the only kid that I know who's grown up and been like, okay, this is what I want to do for a living, and now I'm doing it. And so around me, that's a really rare thing. I don't know about anyone else, but yeah, so it just kind of feels like, I don't really know. I don't think I had time to process it, really. Mm-hmm. Not even time, but just I think there's a lot to process, because now that I'm out of school, I have nothing else, no exams, no schedules, no other thing to do. I'm just free now. So now I have to process all these feelings that I've just been slightly feeling without letting myself feel. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I think that's something worth exploring because, again, I don't know anyone who has the experience that you have where this is a dream and I'm going to follow this thing all the way through. I'm now 44, and yes, I've been in business for a significant amount of time, and I'm still figuring this thing out. And to be able to witness you have a grasp of your dream so early and then pursuing it with everything, I'm just in awe. I truly am.
That's the thing. I'm allowing myself to change too, though. Yes, I love art, but also artist isn't the career. It's not. I'm going to art school because I want to go. I want to meet people and I want to make friends who understand me, and we can talk about interesting stuff like politics and history and stuff and incorporate that into what we create. I have no intention of making this my full-time career. I could very well get my teaching license and become a history teacher because history is still in my mind. I still love doing it. I also love art. So this is a part of my life. I think I'm hoping that this is it becomes a worn out idea of you becoming this one thing forever. Because that's not the case. I just like art, and so this is what I'm doing right now. I'm allowed to just enjoy these 4 years. I have to keep telling myself this because I'm so quick to go to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. But right now, in this moment, I'm processing a lot. I'm going to go to college, art school to be exact, and I'm going to enjoy my time. And we'll cross the next road when we get to it.
I love that. Very mature answer. And I think that that's enough. That's it. I'm going to art college. That's your dream. And let everything unfold as it will. And all of the ideas that you have, the dreams, whatever, I think you'll figure that out as you go. What advice would you give to anyone who has a desire to be an artist?
Create what you want. And do not post your art on the internet. Solely create your art for yourself and for the people around you. If you want to get your art out by other people, look locally or go to some art meet or whatever. Figure out what's around you. But do not post your stuff on the internet to get likes. That kills artists because that's not what art is for. Art isn't content to be posted. It's for you and for people to experience.
What do you think has been the thing that has helped you stay on track as it relates to being an artist?
Therapy. I definitely I get in my head so much. It's a problem. Okay. I need someone to talk to. I need therapy. I need someone to hear my thoughts and tell me, hey, chill out. And I'm okay, cool. Yeah, I definitely, therapy, and writing and just figuring out coping strategies around, because being mentally ill is a part of me, yes, and it's something that I will have to live with. I'm come to terms with it for the rest of my life. Fine, because of the trauma that I experienced. Fine. So it's all about living with that, managing it, and I wouldn't be able to do that without therapy, and I wouldn't be making art without therapy.
Good stuff. Who has been the biggest influence in you creating your art and developing as an artist?
My art teacher, Miss Curry. Shout out to Sarah Curry. Go look up her art. She's amazing and the best art teacher I've ever had in my entire freaking life. Okay? And I put that on everything. I was fresh out of my parents like officially split, and we moved into the apartment. Everything was new. I was just now getting back into art. Really after pre-college, I was able to for the second time, I was able to just go back into creating. Her class changed my freaking life, and I wouldn't be the artist I am today without it. So yeah, I think the biggest supporters in my corner for 2023, my mom and Miss Curry, my art mom. You both have helped me so much and just been my cheerleaders, and have also just pushed me to new heights of self-discovery, which I never would have gotten alone. And I'm forever grateful and in debt.
What's one thing that I have taught you that you are going to carry into your college years?
Know yourself first, and don't get married or have kids until you have nothing else to do.
You know what? I'm really glad that you said that, because I mean that.
Yeah, I know you mean it from the bottom of your soul. Like if you could, your last words to me, if you only had one pick of one sentence to do, it'd be that. It'd be that. And I mean, listen, you're right. Like, I gotta know myself first. And I am forever thankful for that lesson, because a lot of people do not know themselves, and they go through life just making these big hurdles that they're not ready to make.
Yeah, and I stand 10 toes down in that. I really want you to have the best experiences in your life, and I know how I fell in love at a very young age, and that shifted the trajectory of my life. And so when I think about you and as you're preparing for college, I want you to have fun. I want you to have a good time. Yes, I want you to get your education priority, but also I want you to live your life and be free.
And I will.
And I know you're going to. And so I am now in this space, and we've had many conversations about this, navigating what this journey is going to look like for me.
Oh, yeah. What's next for you?
Well, that is a great question. I think for me, it's going to be a process to adjust to now being a mom of a college student and a junior in high school, newly divorced, dating and having a good time, running a business, working part-time, and all of the things that I'm doing.
Yes.
I'm excited. This should be an interesting space, but I'm also grieving.
Oh. Grieving is the thing is, you've been telling me you're grieving. And I mean, listen, grieve all the way, sister. My thing is what are you grieving?
The change of my baby, my firstborn, now going out into this world as a young adult, making decisions, and I no longer am in control. And that is scary to me, because 18 years of your life, I've been the one doing all the things and supporting you and being here for all these different things. And now hoping that I have poured enough in you, which I know that I have, that you are going to go out into the world and make the best decisions for yourself. Now, granted, you're going to make mistakes. I'm ready for that. I'm prepared. And also, I'm grieving the change, because now there's going to be an identity shift for me, with you now being in Brooklyn, New York, me being here, mothering you as a young adult while mothering a high schooler, and figuring out my own life. It is a lot. It's a lot.
Too, to parenting.
Yeah.
You got through the first hurdle of milestones of they're growing up. Okay, now they're young adults. One's driving, one's going to college. What the heck is going on? That's a very, I never really thought about it like that. I don't know. I think another thing you've taught me how to do is feel. like feel my feelings. And I think this is a great lesson among the many that you've given me or taught me on like personal inventory, I guess. Like feeling your feelings, being allowed to feel your feelings, being allowed to process what you're feeling, you know?
Yeah. So I want to thank you for coming on today, taking time out of your busy day or not so busy day to just have this conversation with me. And we both can go back and listen like a year from now and see how much has changed and all of the things. And yeah, I love this for us. Is there any final words you would like to leave with the audience?
Thank you for having me, Mom. Honestly, I've witnessed like your business career since the beginning. And if I had a bottle of champagne or like a glass, cheers to you.
Thank you so much for coming on, and cheers to our new chapter.
Cheers to everything. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Sending you so much love and light. Until next time.